Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of What's New Mama podcast. I'm your host, Giselle, and that's your host, Amy.
Hi.
Hi. So today we're going to go ahead and talk about your relationship post baby, right? Like your spouse, your partner, obviously your friendships and the people around you, right? Your outer layer, like that gets affected as well. But we want to focus on your relationship in house, right? Whether it's your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever it might be. How did that change? How is it affected after the baby came along? I know everybody has a different experience. With Tom and I, we were just so tired.
I think
Like,
everyone's tired.
it's like, how do you make time for each other, right? To still feel like you're a priority in that other person's life when the priority is really like maintaining this new life that came and making sure that they're fed and, doing okay and thriving and all that stuff. But you also have to show the other person that you're sharing this space with and this moment with that they're valued and that you appreciate them. And it's more than just sex, right? It's more than just being intimate with each other, right? Because it could be like with Tom and I, we're not really going out people. Like we would go out to like the restaurant and stuff, but rarely.
Mm-hmm.
But we would go to the gym together. We would work out together. When I was pregnant, we would go work out together. We haven't been able to do that, but he'll go work out, have his time, and then I'll go work out on my time. I usually take the baby with me if I'm going for a jog or a walk. But other times I'm like lifting weights. I can't take the baby with me, obviously. So those are a couple of things that like we've had to shift and like compromise and like make it work. But that was definitely one thing we had to adjust to. Obviously, intimacy, like you obviously can't have sex, right? Like at least 6 weeks, weeks after giving birth, right? And that's if you don't have any complications. C-section is a completely different timeline too. So that was obviously something that was like different for us, but it was like, whatever, this is what we have to do. Without getting too graphic and into details of our super personal life, because this is not spicy TikTok. You have to communicate with each other. What is it that you need? What is it that you want from the other person? Which we've had to learn it. And that was a really big barrier for me because it involves being very vulnerable and saying, I need you, like, hey, hi, I need your attention. I need you to hug me right now, or I need you to kiss me, show me love. And that was something that I'm still working on, but there's times that, like, I don't know, I'll like annoy Tom with something or I'll snap at him somehow. He's like, what's wrong? What is it? Like, is it? And I'm like, yeah, I just need your attention right now. I guess that's what it is. It's probably why I'm being bitchy.
The whole thing is that we don't want to come across as needy either. So it's kind of like fighting your pride a little bit. Kind of like that I need this and I don't want to be needy, but hello, you've been ignoring me for such a long time. Like,
I don't like the words of I need this. I don't need anything, right? Like, so that was an adjustment that I had to make. But once I got over that, like I was very comfortable with like just telling him he's sitting over here. That's why I keep looking. It's a matter of like I had to just tell him like, yeah, no, I need you to hug me right now. Like, stop doing whatever it is. I just feel like I need your hug or I need your love. And obviously I had a different postpartum experience, so during that stage, it was like a push-pull kind of thing for me because I was internally, mentally, like not at a place where I could give off that kind of openness. So I had to learn how to get through that. But I would tell him, like, I just feel like I need you to like cuddle with me for a second, right? And give me that support, make me feel safe at a time where I didn't feel safe or comfortable, right? But even things like what do we enjoy doing? We like being home. Like I'll make tacos and we'll sit here and we'll watch like our favorite comedians and we'll talk about some other stuff, right? Or like we'll look at an article on our phone and be like, did you see blah, 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 whatever? And we'll have conversations with each other. And I think the fact that we haven't lost that, like the ability to have an adult conversation when what you're doing all day is blocks, ball, flower, like you're having that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it helped me still feel like a valued adult, especially at a time where there was a lot of isolation. I mean, you know, we moved also far away from everybody, but there was no outdoor socialization because things were still kind of shut down and people were still like with the masks and all of that stuff. So really, my well-being and our relationship depended on the effort that we both put into it. And Tom is not an affectionate person, right? Everybody around him knows this. He is not like the lovey-dovey kind, right? And so to the point where when I was pregnant, I used to rub my belly, be like, I hope that, you know, he looks just like Tom, but he's like a cuddly, loving version of him, right? That he will push my face away or whatever when I'm like smothering him with kisses and hugs and all that stuff, which is exactly what I got because Derek is Tom's mini. But I had to communicate to him and say, listen, I understand that this is foreign to you, to be affectionate, cuddly, and all that stuff, but I need that. Like, that's my love language. He's like, is that your love language? Like, oh my God. He's like, oh, don't come at me with that bullshit or whatever. But he understands, even though he mocks it, like, he understands that I need that. And in order for me to be happy and feel loved and all that stuff, he has to partake in that. Another part that we were talking about the other day, he's like, I'll like try and like caress him. Like I like doing things like that. For me, I just enjoy it. And I'm like, I know he hates it. So I try not to, but he'll do it to me because he knows that I like it. So those little things that we've learned, like just how to adjust, how to be, I think was really important. And we've also taken the pre-baby aspect of who we were and try to find a compromise on how to do it now. One of the things, which I know is also controversial, I did not want to co-sleep because I felt that, and like, again, like I ended up co-sleeping like most of the time because it's inevitable sometimes, but I made it a part of like, I want Derek to sleep in his bassinet, and then we moved him into the crib and it worked. But then when he goes through his regressions or he's teething or something, most of the time at night, we're like, oh, there he goes again. Let's just bring him to the bed. So we'll bring him to the bed. But I think for us, it worked out where now Derek, like last night, he slept in his crib most of the night. We had to get up once, soothe him, and then put him right back down. But those are the type of things that for us was important. For me, at least, Tom was very like, just bring him into the bed. Even though he was scared to like roll over and like.
I got that too.
But that helped us because that helped us have that moment to ourselves of like, it's not like a sex thing. It's more of, we were just like cuddling and hugging and I'd be like, just hug me. I know you're going to turn over at the end, like towards the end of the night because he can't sleep with me, like hugging him or him hugging me. But for that moment, we have that. And I think that was really important for me at the time. There's other things that we do, like we're like a bored couple where it's like we love to just joke around and play with each other. Like our sense of humor is similar. And oddly enough, this reminds me actually, I hope he doesn't mind that I'm sharing that.
He's like, he's secretly listening because he's like with the headphones on, but I know he's listening.
He is. They're not noise canceling headphones, so I know he's listening. But the other day we were in the room with the baby and we were all playing and he's like randomly, he's like, you know, I don't think I'll ever get bored of like you and like us. And I was like, it could have came, the way I'm saying it is coming off wrong, but it was such a like nice, unexpected thing to say because to me, he knows I need to hear these things as part of my, like I need that from him. So he knows that he has to tell me, oh, you look beautiful today or you look nice. And him randomly saying that without me having to ask him, hey, do you still love me? Or do you still feel whatever? It felt very genuine, very real. And I was like, oh, that like stood,
well,
like
he
stayed
better
with
say that
me.
because he married you.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, so, and that's the thing, right? Like, he knows. I was like, what made you say that? He's like, I don't know. I was just thinking about it. And I was like, no, I obviously you're thinking about it, but what made you say it out loud to me? And he's like, because I know you like to hear those things. And
Tom
so
is probably like, damn it, you, Giselle, why are you giving away my secrets?
But that's the key, right? Like, even if like, and like, again, it doesn't have to be like a sexual thing. It can be you showing to the other person, like, I know he enjoys when I make tacos and all that stuff. So,
it's
like,
small things,
I'll go out of my way.
Things that you just use to like remind them, like, hey, you know, I'm thinking of you. Yeah. Yes, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I also joke with him. I'm like, if you ever get tired of me, I have many different hairstyles and I can wash my hair and change it up in a second. So there's enough hairstyles here that I can match the personality. And if you get bored, tell me, because I can cut it, I can put it curly, I can blow it out. But those are the stupid little like comments that we share that maybe to the outside, like some of the things that we talk about, it's like, it's mad weird or whatever. But for us, it keeps us like in it. And it reminds me of like when we started dating, or like just like the sense of humor, the jokes, all that stuff. It was like, oh, that reminds me of like us. Granted, now we'll go to the zoo, we'll go to the aquarium. We love doing that pre-baby. Now we just have a baby and it makes it less creepy if you see two adults in the zoo or the aquarium. Right? So like we do all those things. We just have a little partner now that comes along with us. Because we haven't had really a moment other than the cruise, and I mentioned that in the other episode, to ourselves, where it was like going out and leaving the baby somewhere. He'll always come along. But we'll have like throughout the day, and this is where I'll get a little bit more detail, like you have to make time.
You do.
Whether it's to go have sex or
and please invest
like,
in a lock.
Talk about something
once they get older
in a lock
for your room.
Yes,
please. I've heard too many horror stories already. I've watched too many people tell us about things. And be quiet, don't scream because they can hear you.
Yeah. So like with us, right? Like one of the things is like, all right, he's napping. Let's go real quick. You know, like you have to fit that in because we're human, and I feel like it's easy to get lost in other priorities because they are important. You have to maintain this kid's life, and like you know, that's top, right? That's priority. But you can't forget of what got you guys to that point. And you know how they say like you can't stop dating even after you're married and you have kids and all that stuff. I completely agree with that, but the idea of dating looks different for every couple, right? Like for us, it's not necessarily going out to eat or going out to the movies or whatever it is. For us, it's having a moment on the couch and like watching our favorite stand up or our favorite podcast together, and then pausing every couple of minutes, like, yeah, what do you think about this? Like if they'll pose a question on the podcast or something, we'll pause and be like, yeah, what would you do in that scenario? And we'll have that conversation with each other. So like an hour-long podcast would actually take us like multiple tries to listen to actually finish it, because we'll stop, we'll talk, and like do all of that. And I think, I know I'm forgetting a couple of things, but like even when we go on drives, like when we go anywhere, just like talking along the way about whatever it is. And everything that we do, it's like a team decision, right? Everything. Like he'll be like, what do you think about this? Whether I give input or not, if it's vacation planning.
Here we go.
He can't say, I thought a T-Refer. He's the planner. He does all that stuff. But even that, right? Like planning and looking forward for like a getaway, even with the baby there. But even planning is part of that excitement, right? And like talking about things that you're going to do, including the other in your thoughts, in your plans and all of that. How was your work day? Talk to me about like what's going on. Before I started my actual, like my job right now, like I would be home with the baby and like doing that job and going out to the library, but I would leave and like go on my walk, go to the library, do other things with the baby. And I would come back and be like, what happened? How was your day? And we would talk about it. like, oh, like this asshole did whatever, you know? I think those are the things that matter, because everything else, you don't have to spend money, like, or like buy gifts. Like, I've never been one, like, I don't care for him to buy me like things. Jewelry is different.
Jewelry is different. No, yeah, I get it. I get a lot of stuff like that too.
But like, I don't care about like bags or any of that stuff, which I know that is a love language, right? Like, that's not my love language.
Well, that's my love language. Like, thank you very much. I mean, yeah, he like, he gives me a lot of jewelry, which I like, sometimes randomly too, which he'll be like, oh, I saw these and I thought it would look good on you. And I love that, because it's like, okay, so I am on your mind. But I also, what else is there? He does like flowers. I love flowers. So he'll buy flowers, or he'll have the kids pick out flowers. Like we have like little flowers really along the way here, and they'll pick them up and they'll bring them to me. Like little things, just buying like little chocolates or something that I like to eat. Or if he finds himself like that's a big randomly driving towards Sonic. I love Sonic Blast, like Oreo ones. So he'll pick one up and he'll be like, oh, I bought you a Sonic Blast. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. Because I hate going out. I hate being outside. Like I was telling you earlier. Like I get so tired of being around people and having to waste energy and talking and doing stuff. And it's like, I gotta talk to this human. And like, I'm cool just being here and home and doing whatever. So it's like, he'll go out with the kids and, you know, and it's like little things like he'll remember. And I'll be like, oh, what'd you buy mommy? But that's our love language. Because he's similar to Tom, where he's not very into like PDA and all this stuff. And I was telling you earlier, not to make it like too about sex or anything, but because that is important. Intimacy is important with your spouse or partner. But I had issues because I guess I was so touched out. And I didn't know there was like a psychological thing behind it, where he would come and like you try to hug me and I would jump. Like and I would just be like I don't want to be touched right now kind of thing. And I felt bad because it was like, I shouldn't be reacting like that to you, because I've never reacted that way with you. So it was like, I didn't know it was a thing. So it was, there's this intimacy coach that I've been watching on TikTok. Sorry. and I'll put the link below our podcast here. But she says that you should make out with your husband every day. Make time to make out with your husband. At least kiss, swap some spit, and it doesn't have to be sex, right? Like, it could just be that, and make time to do that, because that way you kind of desensitize yourself from the touchy where you're jumping back all the time. So that's what we've been trying to do, to kind of just bring that back, because it's been very hard for me just physically, because I felt like every time after I had a baby, it's just like I wasn't the same. And it was just weird, the whole touching thing. I used to just jump. So bringing that back into it slowly. And he's been very great with that. So it's working.
Good. Do you guys hold hands?
Yeah, we hold hands and everything. I mean, now the kids fight for our hands. So it's kind of hard. Because it's like, you know, with the two kids, they're already 2.5 and 5. So they're like very aware of their surroundings. They want to fight for our hands. So it's like they don't want Sienna's about daddy, Milo's about mommy. He doesn't let me breathe. So he's kind of like, I'm going to jump on you, or I have to carry him all the time. So it's kind of hard to still do little things like that. But at the end of the day, like, we make sure they're down for bed. I'll try to escape for a little while, go downstairs. We'll watch TV, the news, or I'll just show him videos that I think he'll find funny on TikTok, which is usually what we do. Because I'm always like, oh, this is funny. I'm going to say this to show it to him later. And like, we'll start laughing and, you know, just I'll ask him for his, like, what he's done at work, like how he's doing, because I find like that's very stressful for him, and he carries that all day. So I make sure he has that chance to unload it, you know, and vent, talk about it. And then, you know, he's okay. Because I still co-sleep. So I'm sleeping with Milo. I don't see him at night.
You do it full time, right?
I've been telling you that I've been trying to get him to sleep by himself. I mean, I've left him for a couple hours, but he'll wake up in the middle of the night like, Mommy. And I'm like, no. So if anyone has any idea of what I can do, please let me know. Help me. I have no idea what to do there.
Well, I know we were kind of talking about it before, like getting a bed. Maybe he could share a room with Sienna to like soften the transition. That might be a good.
Yeah, I still have yet to try it.
But it is tough.
Because I do miss my bed and miss sleeping next to your stinky brother.
So like, see, that's even a thing too. Like before, and I don't know if you want to answer this, but like before baby, like would you sleep with pajamas on?
I always sleep with pajamas on.
Sleep like
you probably think that I'm like a prude or something, but this is the way we were brought up. So with my parents, they were very, very secretive about their sexual life and everything, and so it's like it's not taboo, but it's not something we speak about. So it's like we always wore pajamas, and it's always like a thing where you have to be presentable in front of the person you're living with, kind of thing. So we've always, I mean, obviously maybe some sexier pajamas, but always wore pajamas. Okay. Your bro, though, he's always in his undies. Like a toddler.
Okay. Okay. See, that was an adjustment for me, like post baby. Like, even like Tom was like when I was pregnant or like before, he's like, you're gonna have to start wearing clothes when you're going to sleep. Now that we have the baby, and I'm like, yeah, no, I have to adjust. I had to adjust to all those things, right? But that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, like that makes sense to me. I know other moms that don't do that. Like they don't care. They're like the body is natural and like kids are going to be exposed to one way or another.
I think there's an age where it's just like they need to learn their privacy and learn mine as well. Yeah. So that's where I'm like with Sienna, I'm very hard. Like if I'm going to the restroom, don't come in here. Like give mommy some privacy. And I always tell her also, you deserve your privacy as well here. And then, whatever. So it's just working up to it.
Good. Yeah. But so like that was an adjustment, but like back to like what you were saying, like the holding hands, or like you would get him little things that he likes to show him the videos on TikTok or Instagram. That's something that Tom we would always do if we could be in the different room in the house, right? Like I was in the baby's room with the baby and like he would be here working. I'd be like, oh, I saw somebody sent me this funny video, usually Jessica. She'll send me like a link to something hilarious and I'll send it to him. And like, he's like, oh yeah, that was funny. Or like, no, that's not my sense of humor. I'm like, whatever. I thought it was funny. So I sent it to you. But when we started dating, so Tom used to smoke cigarettes, right? And when he would work out, he always chewed gum. So I remember when we started dating, like he had a hard time sometimes finding that particular gum and that flavor. So I remember wherever I would see it, Walgreens, wherever, I would get him a bunch of them and then I would give it to him. And like, I was like, oh, I saw this and I know you like this, so I got it for you. And then now that he quit smoking, like I'll get him, whether it's Dum Dums or like a mint that he likes or whatever. But his favorite is Reese's, like the peanut butter cups. But a particular one, he likes like the eggs, like the different shaped ones. So like if I see it, I'll get him one or two. They're all the same, Tom. And I can't get him a bag. Yeah. And we said they're all the same. He said, no, they're not. He's like, no. They really aren't, though. They do taste different. I think it's because of the consistency of the peanut butter. Like the peanut butter and then the cup has like the sharp edges, right? Like the little.
Now I'm gonna go out and do this. Like I'm just gonna go buy different shapes and see what's the best.
They are different. I used to think it was all in his head, but I'll give him that. So like those are the type of things that I like. If I go into a CVS and I'll see the bag of Easter bunny or the Easter egg one, I'll get it. He's like, oh, you bitch. I'm going to have to eat this whole bag now. But he's grateful. And those are the little things.
It's just
right?
paying attention, paying attention to the small things. And it's like, okay, if you want to do something nice, go for the small things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then, if he gets me diamond earrings and I get him Reese's peanut butter cups, it's equal. It's the same. It's the same. No, but like, those are the things, like he'll always hold my hand, right? And those are things that I feel like at this point he could chime in if he wants to, but I feel like at this point he likes it too, the holding of the hands. And I remember one week he said something to me, and I guess I was like getting my period or something, so I was extra cranky. But he said something to me like, "Oh, what's up? Like, you're mad clingy," or something like that, and along those lines. And I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm clingy." So like the following week, I just didn't want to hold it. I didn't hold his hand. I went out of my way to like not be as touchy feely. And then he's like, towards the end of it, he's like, "What's up with you? You're different." And I was like, "What do you mean?"
You mean
what do you mean? I thought you didn't like me. Yeah, exactly. And then he's like, "No, you know what I mean." And so he got used to that kind of emotion coming from me and that type of affection, right? Where he may bitch about it or like say things about it as like a smart comment or whatever, but he's grown to appreciate it and to know that that's how I show my love and affection. So when I don't do it, he's like, "What's up with her? Is she distant? Like, what's going on?" I remember having that conversation with him, and it's stuck with me. And I was like, "Oh, so the little things that you said were annoying that I stopped doing, now you're noticing that I'm not doing." Yeah, exactly. You missed it. But yeah, those are all things like he's very affectionate in public, like hugging my, holding my hand, playing with me. He's really big with the playing, like tickling and all that stuff with me, and like doing the cuco type of thing, like that. And I just remember I was telling him the other day, I was looking at, you know how like your iPhone shows you like this time, X amount of years, like on this day or whatever. It showed me a video of us that like I was like or whatever, and he was being silly and like, you know, biting me and whatever. And I remember back then I was like, he's going to be such a great father if we do decide to ever have a kid, because those are the type of things that kids like they like the play fight, the tickling and all that stuff. And now I see him and he does it with Derek, like in that way. And it just kind of, it was one of those moments of like,
came full circle. Oh. Yeah, I get those. Yeah.
And I told him about that. And I was like, see, that's how I knew back then, because he was doing that with me and I loved that. And I was like, he would be he's an affectionate father, an affectionate person, even though to the outside world, like his family, his friends, they were like, I never thought I'd see Tom being this way. And like, just to like highlight that too, when we went to the wedding this past weekend, and there were people that I met from his life, like he's known him for over 20 years. And one of them was like, he's like, "Oh my God, like you're Tom's wife, and like this is his boy and whatever." And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm sorry." He's like, I've known Tom for so long that I never expected this to be where Tom would be, like married with a kid and all. He was the complete opposite, right? Like the tough guy, whatever. And I'm like, "No, it's okay. Like, I don't mind it." But I love hearing that transition, right? And I feel like when you have a kid, that changes too. It changes you. It changes the way you show love, show affection. And that's definitely, like, I feel like I warmed him up to it because I needed that from him. And now that we have a baby, he's like full blown into like that whole showing affection and love and all of that. It's made it easier for me to like pull him into that. But those were all really big things that we've done for each other. And like, he's really big on, do you need to take a moment to go for a walk? Like, he'll push me. He's like, "Giselle, go for a walk, put on your headphones, listen to your music and go for your walk, go for a jog, go do whatever you got to do. I have the baby." Those are moments to me that also show he values me. He appreciates me. He knows that I need that time to myself. And it goes both ways. And I feel like that's the most important part. Like, you have to be able to do for the other and the other will do for you. But you do it in a way that it's not expecting something in return. I'm not doing this so that I can get this. I'm just doing it because I love you and I appreciate you and I want to show you that we're a team and we do it. And it's not just all on you. And I think that's one of the key things that makes it work. Obviously, we have fights. We disagree. There's moments that we're both frustrated with one thing or another because, you know, life is stressful. But at the night, will be here. Like if I'm working late, like there's days that I work, like I'm still sending out emails and talking to clients and all that stuff till like 7. One night it was till 10 p.m. And he got really mad. He's like, Giselle, like this is our time to sit down,
and catch up,
eat, watch our show, catch up, and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I have to do this really quickly. So that was his way of telling me, like, I need your undivided attention, like, in that way. He may not phrase it in that way, but that's essentially what that translates into, which is equivalent to me saying when he would work till 11 p.m. or whatever, I'd be like, just come over here and sit down with me on the couch and like talk to me and whatever. So those are the things that I think it's important. If anything, if anybody takes anything out of this, it's to communicate with your partner. What do you want? What do you need from that person in order to feel
and it's okay to talk about it, because a lot of people feel like, and your partner doesn't know what you're thinking. Yeah.
They're not in your head.
Like, if you don't say it, they're not going to figure it out just because you're angry or quiet about something. It's just, they're not going to figure it out. You have to talk, because that's major communication. And I feel like that's a lot of the times it's the result of fighting or anything. It's because you don't communicate well enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I used to just be upset, and like I would just like slam the drawer or make loud noise and anything, right? And anything that I would do, right? Be like mad, passive aggressive about it. But like we would talk about it. He's like, Giselle, like what is it? But I'm also heavy handed. So it's kind of like you gotta have to kind of decipher between the two. But then that's another thing. Like, how is he supposed to figure out that I'm upset by me being loud in the kitchen or whatever it is, when I'm naturally a heavy handed person? So he can't, unless I tell him I'm upset, he's not gonna piece two together, you know? So I think that's very, very important. Like, do you and Vic do like date night? Like date night for us is not your traditional going out. Date night for us is like hanging out, like putting the baby to bed, hanging out here and having that undivided like attention with each other. Or there are times that we're like, all right, we could go to sleep early or we could have sex and then be tired. So it's like, which one of the two? Maybe we could do both.
It like doesn't take long. It doesn't take very long.
But like those are the type of things that like we're able to laugh about. Like we both know, like when it comes to sleep or sex, we're gonna probably pick sleep over anything. But it's just having that sense of humor about things with each other.
So we don't really do date night. It's more like what you described, you know, just taking the time to sit and talk with each other and just spending the time. Even if we don't talk, we just sit with each other and like cuddle on the couch and watch something or just talk or whatever, catch up. But if we do dates, I mean, my sister, great help, because she'll come over and she could stay with the kids. So we'll go out to eat, grab a quick bite of something, because I have like a favorite bed and breakfast restaurant that's like 30 minutes north of us. We eat there. There's they have a spa there, and he knows I love massages and stuff, so he'll like book us a massage, a couples massage, and we'll do that together. It's just like little random things, which it's funny because now that I'm thinking about the massages, like when we're on vacation, he has surprised me more than once already. He'll find a spa in the location we are, and he'll drive me there, and he's like, "That's amazing. You have a spa appointment at like noon. I'll take care of the kids. Don't worry about it." And he'll drop me off.
Love it. Yes.
He'll drop me off, and then he'll come pick me up when I'm done. But it's like he's done that like twice already without me knowing, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right." Yeah. And then I'll just go. So it's like little things, like just without me asking, which is nice. And I find that he never did that before, and he's doing that more and more often, because he's like, I know I don't show you my emotions as much, because he's like, I'm always working, I'm always doing something, you know. So he's always like finding little things. Yeah. And he always gives me cards for my birthday still, for Valentine's Day, for Mother's Day. Okay. I have like a stack. I just found them the other day. I was like, oh, that's where they are. It's like a stack of all the cards he's ever given me. And he's always writing so many nice things in there. So you'd be surprised. He actually writes really well. What else does he do? I'm trying to think. Like it's just small things. And like the other day, remember I wasn't feeling well.
Yeah.
He went out and got me bread just to eat bread for breakfast, like fresh bread. Yeah,
the
he went out
bread,
and got me the fresh bread just so I could have something to eat because I wasn't feeling well. So it's like, you know, he tries.
Yeah.
He tries, and I love that. So I'm not the only one trying.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the things that matter. Like it doesn't, and that's what I mean. Like if your language, right, your love language, because there's a foreign love language, affection, service, and all that stuff, gifts don't have to be extravagant things. It can be the small, meaningful things, and that's enough. Your favorite gum, your favorite bread, like whatever it is. But even putting the thought behind it, like him booking those massages and doing all of that, major points for him. There you go. That's awesome. No, take notes, people. Take notes. But like Tom, like when people compliment me on my ring or like other things, like he got me for our wedding gift, for example, he got me like these really nice diamond earrings, and that's what I wore for our wedding day. But he's been wanting to get me those type of earrings because I had a pair and like I lost it. Like it was a whole big thing, whatever. And he's like, I've been meaning to get you these because I know you really wanted a replacement pair, but like you never wanted, like I just didn't feel it was justifiable to buy them because it was really expensive. But he surprised me with them. But he's very big on, if you don't like them, I'll bring them back. Like he's very big on just send me the link of what you want. And like, that's where we learned to compromise. I would have wanted him to easily just surprise me with something, but he needs the guidance. Like he needs either the link of it directly and he'll buy it, or like this similar style. But to make it easier, like with my ring, we both designed it together. And I gave him an idea of what I wanted and all that stuff. And that's how it worked out. Because everybody's like, oh, he did such a good job. And I'm like, I kind of helped him decide it. But I knew going into the relationship that was who he was, because that's what he told me. And I respect that. And I think that's probably the second suggestion I would say, right? Obviously effort, number one. But two is respecting that the way that they show love is maybe different than the way that you want to receive love. But you have to be able to communicate that to each other and then meet in the middle, right? Like figure out a good compromise. And so now I know that even though he doesn't surprise me with like these random little things, that he's more of like, hey, I wanted to get you this. Like he'll show me what it is. I'm like, no, surprise me. He's very like, no, look, I'd rather show you because I'd rather get you something that I know you'll love than something you'll bring back. And I was like, for the record, I would never return anything that you give me because you got it for me and it's a gift from you and all that stuff and all that yada yada whatever, right? Lovey-dovey stuff, but it's true. But he's like, no, I'd just rather get you exactly what you want, which I appreciate. That's just how he is. But even like how you said, like the thought behind booking that massage and like doing all these things that he does, the thought that the effort that it takes to even do that, those are all things. The fact that he was even thinking like doing about getting me the earring. Yeah. You might like when he'll book the vacations, like I'm like, oh yeah, like it's like a turn on. I'm like, I see him like booking flights and like places to go to, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I'll watch him.
But ask Giselle where she's going.
Like,
she has no idea.
I have no idea.
No idea.
I have no idea. For the wedding, actually, I asked him like 10 million times. We were at the hotel, and the wedding was this past Friday, and I was like, what? Thursday. I'm like, what time is the wedding? He's like, Giselle, I told you this already like 10 million times. And he was the best man of the wedding. It was his best friend. Beautiful ceremony. I love them both dearly. They love Derek as if like it was their kid. Like beautiful people. So excited for them. Very happy. But it wasn't a matter of I didn't care, meaning like the time that I didn't know the time. It's just that's my flaw. I'm very like, I don't know where we're going, when, how, why, who. Like, I'm going to need that multiple times for you to tell me. And like that frustrates him. So I try to make an effort. But sometimes I'll annoy him on purpose. Like, I like will laugh about it. He's like, "You're just doing that to annoy the shit out of me, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know it's 6 o'clock, or I know it's at 6:30, or whatever it is." But even doing little quirks like that, we're both smartasses with each other. That in itself creates a dynamic in that relationship for us. Like, I remember in LA, we met a couple that, you know, they're very West Coast. So it's a very different vibe than East Coasters, right? And we were talking about stuff, and he's complaining. Tom has always complained about the amount of clothes that I have. Despite what people are wearing here, those sweatshirts and all that stuff, I have a ton of clothes that are in storage and like all this stuff. And we've moved at least 5 times since we've been together. And every time he'll bitch about my clothes. So we were on like a double date with this couple, and we're talking about stuff, and they're like, yeah, because all of Giselle's crap. Like, all of Giselle's like shit. Like, I have to move it all the time. But like, I know he doesn't mean it in a bad way. But I just remember the girl, like, I'm not going to mention her names, but I remember she was like, he talks about your stuff and says crap and shit. Like, she thought he was insulting.
So they take everything literally.
Or like, whatever.
Okay.
Well, it's also, she's Brazilian. So like, you know, there's also that loss in translation. Yeah. But then she's acclimated to like the West Coast. So it was just different. Like the New York sarcasm, it's different than like West Coast LA, which is where we were, right? But I was like, oh, no, he doesn't mean it in a bad way. It's just like my crap. And that's how I refer to my shit, my crap. But those are things that like, even after the wedding, because we obviously met all these different couples, I'm like, I wonder what weird shit we do as a couple that from the outside people are like, they're weird. Like that's what works for them, I guess. But I think things like that, where we're very smart-assy, very like sarcastic, and like, oh, good job there, told you so, like that type of stuff, and not in a passive-aggressive way, more of like that's just our personality, and we can, the way that Tom says it, we can break each other's balls, right? Like we can we can do that. But sometimes I get upset because I'm either emotional at that time, very sensitive, or whatever it is. And he's like, what's wrong? You normally don't get upset about whatever. I've said this shit before to you and you don't care. But then we'll talk about it. And that right there, it goes into the whole communication piece.
That's important.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are things with us. I don't know. How do you and Vic communicate? Do you feel like one of you guys is very direct? Both of you guys are very direct? Is there any passive aggressiveness going on?
Like, we rarely fight because I guess we are direct. Because he might be a little more passive aggressive sometimes because I think he comes off a little bit strong. Well, I don't know if you've heard him, right? You've heard him yell at the kids, or he just says, "Rah!" And he's like very like, you know, stern. It comes off very stern. So, but I think he's very passive aggressive with me because he doesn't want to hurt my feelings. So he kind of like he'll just like, I hear him like slamming.
Or he might be scared of you though. In your temper.
Maybe. So he's like slamming stuff, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, what's up your ass? So like, why are you upset? Like, why are you slamming shit for? Like, I was just like, I don't care. Like I told you this before. I'm just like, what's your problem? Yeah, I see it. Like, you know, like do you have something to tell me? Like, are you upset about something? Like, you know, I just be like, what's the problem? Like, I don't care. Yeah. Like, whatever it is, get it out because I don't want to hear you slamming stuff because that's annoying. So it's not like, I guess, you might be right where he like tries to tread because he knows I'm going to just be like, what is it? You know? So
he doesn't want to wake the bear up. He doesn't want to poke the bear.
Yeah, I guess, but we don't really like argue about anything too much. Like, I don't see that. Maybe like at the beginning we did, but now as we've been together for almost 14 years. I don't even know. 2009.
That's a long time.
2008, late 2008.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Probably 14, 13 years.
So it's like,
I'm not going to pretend.
We got married. I was 25.
I'm not going to pretend.
Yeah, we're coming up on our 12th year of marriage. 12.
No.
And we were dating before, like 2 years before that. So 14 years. Yeah. I mean, we kind of know our ins and outs. We respect each other. So it's a lot of communication, a lot of talking. He knows that I have a temper. His temper is probably worse than mine because he's pretty chill. But if he gets like, it simmers for a while and all of a sudden he's up here. So yeah, he's very impatient with certain things. So I know like, we work it out. Like how do I say this without insulting him? He's like, and I always laugh. And I always laugh because it's like when we're building things together here at home, like we're doing stuff, he's the muscle and I'm the brains behind the stuff. Because I'm usually more calm about it because I'll be like, no, this goes here, here, and here. And then he'll just go in and do the stuff because it's easier for him to give me the instructions to read because I could pick it up and I'll just... Yeah. So it balances out. Like he has stuff that I'm lacking and I need, and then it's like, it just meshes. So. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it meshes. It's never going to be like this, right? It's sometimes like this. You know what I mean? Like this is what you're bringing, this is what he's bringing, and then it just fits. I can't do it because I'm holding the mic, but it fits, That actually, okay, this is an example too of like something, like I told Tom, like we'll joke about like getting stuff for each other. He hates gifts. I don't mind them, but I don't require them to feel them, right? But like I just noticed it because of my other band, right? So I have 3 rings, right? So I have my wedding band, engagement, and then the bonus band, right? That one, which a lot of people are like, oh, that's so sweet that he got that for you. It's made out of my breast milk. And then it has diamonds, right? And he got it for me as a present for my first Mother's Day, right? And, I just remember like some of my friends like, oh, that's so thoughtful. I was like, girl, I sent him the link. I told him what I wanted and we got it. But it doesn't change the fact that he got it for me, And those are the type of things that I'm like some of my friends would be like, oh, like I wish they would just do that, or like how Tom does this. And I'm like, no. I show him what I want. I send him the link.
You have to meet him halfway. They can only do so much by guessing and looking at your face.
Like he was like, what do you want for Mother's Day? He wanted to get me something. And I was like, well, I actually really want, because I had to stop the pumping and breastfeeding because I had to go on the medication for my postpartum. And I was really sad about it, but I had all this breast milk in the freezer. And I just remember I wanted to, what's the word, like commemorate it, or like just hold on to the fact that I was able to breastfeed and pump for as long as I did and all of that. He's like, and he kept questioning, like a breast milk ring? And like, he's like, are you sure you want this? And I'm like,
yeah,
that's what I want. That's what I want. And for me, like he doesn't understand the reasoning behind it, but that's something.
Yeah, I got one too. Those are pretty nice. Right? I like those. Yeah.
They're nice, but like those are the type of things that we've learned. Like at first, before I was like, why can't you just get me something without me telling you what it is or sending you whatever? He's like, but that's just not how I operate. So it's either you accept that, or we're going to continue having the same whole argument.
Men or women out there who, like think about it and actually are good at doing this. So, it's just, you got to work with what you have.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. You have to work with what you have. Same thing with him. It's like, he may not be the affectionate type or whatever, but he's learned to be that for me, and it works. But I think that's the most important part. And a huge part of the intimacy part is, and I think for us, like, again, intimacy is beyond physical and sexual part of it. I think it's being able to say, my partner hears me when I speak to them. Like they hear and listen to what I'm saying. And that makes me feel valued and like appreciated and more willing. If I was feeling touched out that day or whatever, that makes me feel more willing to go have sex or to go out and do something that he wants to do, whatever it might be, right? But it's that give and take. Like I cook, he does the dishes. Like that's just like our dynamic. That's what we do. Those little things. And there's times like I wake up in the morning, he's feeding Derek before it used to be me, but I'm working. We just have this
he knows,
cycle,
like, all right, so let me let her sleep in and, I'll take care of this while she's doing whatever. So yeah, it's just being cognizant of, without me telling you, like, hey, you need to do this.
Right. If I have to tell you to do something, like take out the trash, do the dishes or whatever it is, that takes away from that feeling, like he'll do it, recycling or whatever it might be, dishes, he'll do it.
But again, it takes work, and you have to communicate, watch, listen, everything. It's like, it takes all your senses to just do everything, like just pick that up. It just doesn't, it's not something that you could just, oh, well, I'm married to her or whatever, so this is it. That's it. I'm not doing anything. It always takes work.
You can't get comfortable. You can't get too comfortable or complacent. Like, when people say, like, oh, like, the negative, like, people paint, like, marriage in, like, a negative light. Sometimes they're like, oh, you settled. And it's like, no. I'm having the time of my life because I married the right person, right? Like, he's like he's my best friend. I tell him every night, and he's like asleep already, and I'm like, you're my best friend. He's like, but that's genuinely how I feel, because he's seen every single aspect of me, and I'm able to come to him with anything, even if it's like it's so crazy, and he's like, Giselle, you're fucking crazy, but whatever. Like, I'll put something on, like, I'll get dressed. Like, I have 2 dresses, and I know I sent you the pictures to wear for the wedding. And I asked him, I'm like, which one? What do you think I should do? He's like, I don't know. They both look the same to me. And I was like, but no, like, you had to help me pick one. And I need to hear you say, oh, like, you look beautiful in this, or this is stunning, or whatever. And it's not from a place of, like, insecurity. It's more of, I want to hear my husband, my partner, that I value what he says, say to me, wow, you look stunning. You look beautiful. And that's really where that stems from. Like, I don't know. It's a weird.
It just makes you, like, it just makes
thing.
You
like,
feel
anybody
good.
else, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, because I get that. Like, just here walking down the stairs, like, whenever I get ready, or like, I have the kids, like, I'm bringing them down, after I got ready, he'll be like, oh, my beautiful wife with my beautiful children. Like, he'll say random stuff like that. So yeah, it just makes you feel good. It's like, it's nice to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like, I still have to remind him of that sometimes, because he's like, Giselle, you're beautiful, or whatever. You're crazy if you don't think so. And I'm like, well, then call me fucking crazy, but I still need to hear you say it. Yeah. But he's gotten better. He's gotten better. And, like, sometimes he'll get too much with it. And I'm like, all right, whoa. He's like, but I'm trying. But those are the little things, that do make a difference for me. And again, obviously, there's the physical component of it. You make time to be intimate with each other, to do things each other, wants or likes, I think those are all really important things. But the preface to it, like, what's going to lead up to that, the foreplay, is the listening to each other, is the doing the small little things that sometimes go unnoticed. But I think it's up to us to take notice in those little things, because that's what's going to keep that relationship strong. Because it is hard. It is hard after your baby to make time for each other and, to, like, escape for a little bit. But it's almost like sometimes we're like little kids, like, all right, baby's sleeping, like, let's go over here and, like, just spend time, it's hard, but it's, if you both are in it and willing to make an effort, I think it's doable. And again, this is coming from an aspect of, we don't have a babysitter, we don't have support, we don't have anybody here to help us. That's why we also can't go out, by ourselves. So that's my perspective. I know if you have a babysitter or an in-law that can take care of the kids while you go escape for a little bit, that's even easier, So it's really just a matter of making time and making it work for you guys. Another big component of it too, that I find after having talked to other moms, watching, it's okay, before I even say that, the intimacy part and, like, maintaining the relationship and all that stuff is factored by other things that aren't necessarily you two related, right? So your parenting style versus your partner's parenting style, if there's friction in that, if there's a difference in it, that's going to cause tension that then will trickle into whether or not you even want this person to touch you or kiss you or whatever. If we just had an argument earlier that day because they gave the baby a snack and you're like, no, like they're not supposed to get a snack. They're supposed to be punished or whatever it is, right? Then that's going to cause the friction and trickle into, I don't want this person touching me. I don't want this person kissing me or whatever. I'm still upset about earlier today. Those are really important things to consider. And then as an adult, like as an individual, you have to say, am I mad about something that he did to me, or am I upset about parenting style difference or whatever it is? And then you guys have to have the conversation, because that's a huge, I feel like that can draw, partners apart.
It's
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh yeah, you're agreeing. True. So like those are all things to consider. So like, what are the outside factors that are affecting that? Maybe a stressful day at work. Maybe somebody said the wrong thing at the library when I was taking the kid there to the library. That's happened to me before. I've been annoyed. I told you I went to the UPS store and this lady was like being nasty to me, and like she tried to skip the line or whatever. But what happened? I texted Tom while I was there, and the lady called me a bitch. That's what happened, because I wouldn't let her skip. And then my comment to like the whole story was like, what a lovely lady, right? And I just made a joke out of it, right? I'm not gonna let this woman ruin my day. But I was boiling it. I was like, gotta control my temper. So what did I do? I was there online still waiting, and I text Tom. I was like, did you see that old miserable bitch that just walked out of the store? She just called me. He's like, you should have told me earlier. I would have yelled at her too and told her she's a bitch. Because she parked, I guess, like, he was in the car with the baby. And those are the type of things that we laugh about. Like, we have each other's back. And I know that if something were to happen, or if he knows something were to happen, we'd both be there. Because, like, even if we're upset or angry, like, nobody's talking to my husband. Like, nobody is, or nobody's talking to my wife like that, or my family, and I think those are all really big things to, like, note, to understand that you have each other's support and each other's, like, back if something were to happen.
Yeah, I always text Victor when I'm in those type of situations as well, because he talks me off the ledge, because I'm quick to rip out hair. I will rip out hair. Yes. Because I feel like, and I sent this video to my sister, or I don't know if she sent it to me, whatever. But it was like, moms are usually on the verge of not giving a fuck. Like, you push some button and we're always ready to go. Yeah. Like, so I'm always texting him, because I'm like, please calm me down, because I'm just gonna rip somebody's hair out right now. I'm gonna shout some like nasty shit. It's gonna come out my mouth. So he's always like, calm down. It's okay. Relax. Take it easy. Yeah. So, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. But even having that as like your coping mechanism for a moment like that, that's huge. And that's what's going to keep that intimacy, that connection. Like, I had somebody run a stop sign and I was with the stroller with the baby when I would go on my walks and stuff. And I looked at her and like, I stopped and I was like, hello, like, fucking idiot. And I was raging. And then finally she was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, she mouthed, I'm sorry. And I instantly called Tom, can you believe this fucking bitch? Just da-da-da-da. And like, he'll let me go off and he'll let me talk. And he's like, oh, and then he'll chime in. He's like, yeah, these fucking idiots, like, whatever. And I'm like, yeah. But it's, for me, that's showing me he loves me, he values me, because he's supporting me. And obviously it all stems from childhood and your trauma, growing up not having that, to now having this home that we've created, this family that we've created, and having that support system. I'm like, oh, this is what I wanted. This is what I didn't think when I was younger would be possible, but here we are, we created it. But it came from a place of, holy shit, I have to be vulnerable now, and I have to tell people how I feel. Which is all major moments. But yeah, let's before we go, let's highlight the key points.
Communication.
What's number one? Communication, right? communication. 2,
yes,
making time for each other, right? Communicate what it is. I was going to do this. Making time for each other and communicating what each other considers valuable time and spending time with each other, right? They're tied in. 3, once you know the style of like intimacy and love and how they receive love, how they understand it, do that. Make an effort. Even if it's not your style, you make an effort. Small little things, right? So that's 3. 4, identify if whatever it is that's a wedge in the relationship is something that's caused by an outside factor, right? And an outside factor does include your child, right? Like, even though it is an internal factor, but it's still an outside factor because it's not your direct relationship with the other. And then what would I say?
I think with communication is, yes, you can talk and say all this stuff, but you also have to listen. Listen is important. Yes. And respect what they're telling you as well. That's important.
Yeah.
Because you can do all this.
It doesn't do any good if it just goes in one ear.
You have to also receive. You have to be able to sit and receive as well.
Yeah. And tied to that, I remember having this conversation with one of my other friends. Yes, be vulnerable, open, discussing and all that stuff. But the main thing to consider is that it's not just going to happen off that one conversation. Yeah. You may have to repeat yourself over and over again because it's new. It's always new. And even if you've been together 14 years, 10 years, 20 years, every stage, every change in the relationship, in the dynamic in that person's life, whether it's a new job, a new family member, whatever it is,
changes things.
That's going to change everything. So now you need to learn that what happened or what worked in the past may not be able to translate into success for the future because you have to adjust. And then you guys need to assess. So I think that's also really big.
Being flexible.
What else?
Not in bed, people.
Yeah. That's a really, really
I'm sure everyone was like, what?
That helps. Yoga, Pilates. No, it's no, being flexible is really important. Like, you have to, and being able to admit when you're wrong.
That's a hard one for everyone, I think.
Very hard.
Yeah. Hard one for everyone.
Yeah. Like, oh shit, I fucked up. I'm sorry. I think those moments are so few and far in between that I can pinpoint recently a moment where I said that to Tom and I was like, oh no, like, you know what? I'm sorry. I had to catch myself. It's like, he's like, oh, I'm proud. But it took, we've been together. It's going to be 6 years. It's going to be 6 years. And, we obviously progressed things quickly from when we met, but it was because from the very beginning, we were like, this is who we are. This is what we want, whatever. And we've kind of maintained that formula
that's what works for you
as
guys.
we go into life together. Right. But yeah, those are all kind of key things. I can't think of anything else right now. Making an effort. I don't know if I mentioned that, just make an effort continuously. But also picking up where the other one leaves off. Because you can't expect the other one to always do the work. You have to look at what can you do.
Because it's not always 50-50. And I'm sure I've said this before. It's never going to be 50-50, never equal. Yeah. Someone's always going to be doing more than the other, 60, 80, whatever it is. It's just, you got to work with it.
Yeah. And listen. Yeah. Work with it, listen.
Yeah.
And take it day by day. Because what they might not need, what they needed the other day may not be what they need today. Yeah. So that's all I got. And maybe dive into spicy TikTok if you want more details about
I'll put that down below if anyone's interested in what is it? Yeah, the doctor. Well, I don't even know if she's a doctor, but I don't know. She has some good advice, and it's interesting to watch.
Okay.
It's her and her husband.
That'll be helpful.
Yeah, I will.
Put the link down. That's always good to hear the insight from the male perspective too. we'll put the link down below. Yeah. And that's all I got.
No, just remember, you're doing a great job. That's right.
You're doing a great job. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we appreciate you as always. Any comments, questions, please put them down below or message us directly, and we'll be here.
Bye.
Thank you, guys, and we'll see you next episode. Bye.